Hello and welcome to No Signal, a show where these two guys sit on this couch and talk about what's new in tech.
And drink beer.
Cheers.
So,
what's new, Nick?
What's new is my first story of the week, which is about Google and Genius. It's not about the geniuses that work at Google. It's about Google and a website called Genius.
What does Genius do? Enlighten us.
I'm glad you asked.
Don't know.
I'm glad you asked. So Genius, it's sort of like the Wikipedia of lyrics, if that makes sense. It's a website where you go in and you can find any lyric to any song in the world. And the cool thing is that it's all annotated. So you click on a line and it shows you the description of what that means.
It's like the why behind the what for lyrics.
So let me paint it by example. And we're going to use the 2017 classic by Lil Pump called Gucci Gang.
Gucci gang, 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 Gucci gang.
Of course.
As an example.
Everyone
to
knows
illustrate
this song.
The genius of Genius. Right? So cue in Gucci Gang.
Cost more than your rent. Ooh, your mom still live in a tent. Yeah, still slanging dope with the jets. Huh? Me and my grandma take meds. Ooh.
Right? So you listen to the song and
what does it mean?
Yeah, you're like, what is the line? Me and my grandma. Where is it? Me and my grandma take meds. Ooh, huh? So you click on that line.
Yeah.
And it gives you 2 paragraphs. As an explanation what that line means. Right? So Lil Pump, like many of his fellow rappers, is a user of not only weed, but also prescription drugs like Percocet, Xanax, and codeine, more often than not in the form of lean or purple dank, which he is pictured holding in a styrofoam cup on the cover of a self-titled mixtape, which this song is featured on. At an older age, people will usually get prescribed with opiate medication for pain relief, the way these drugs were intended to be consumed. Lil Pump takes prescription medications recreationally, while his grandma takes it medicinally. Genius.
Isn't that great?
You would have never known that otherwise.
Sure, if you had cared to go down the rabbit hole.
So that's the genius of Genius.
Right.
So back to the story. There's beef between Google and Genius. Why, you ask?
Why? What's the deal? Where's the beef?
Because a few years ago, Google started displaying the lyrics of, so when people search for song lyrics, Google started displaying the lyrics of the song within the search page.
Right.
Without letting the users go into the different lyric sites with Genius's.
And let me guess, they took Genius's lyrics and
Genius
they're not happy about it.
Genius had a hunch that they were using their lyrics and they complained multiple times. Google wasn't budging. And then they decided to do something genius. So what they did is that they used alternating straight and curved apostrophes. So every song has some apostrophe, like every lyric to every song has some apostrophes in there. So they, when you type of apostrophes, there's straight apostrophes and curved apostrophes.
Yes, that causes problems sometimes.
That causes problems. I think the curved apostrophes are sometimes called smart apostrophes because they curve the right way.
Very hard to notice that you've got the wrong one.
So the genius is a genius. Implanted a sequence of these apostrophes, which if converted into Morse code, spells out the words red-handed to catch Google red-handed. And surprise, surprise, found more than 100 instances where Google was using the same sequence of apostrophes in the lyrics that they were showing. And Google was saying, no, we're not using Genius lyrics.
Okay.
So it all came down to
drama.
A Wall Street Journal article, and Google had to respond. And their response right now is that they will put attribution as to where they got the lyrics from.
So are they kind of like washing over the? They said that they previously were saying that they didn't do it. They were denying.
They were denying.
And now they're like, yeah.
But then now they're caught red-handed.
Oh dear.
By the geniuses of genius. And just a message to all the people who consume lyrics on the Google search page without going into Genius. You're missing out, as illustrated in the previous example. You really have to dig into those meanings behind those songs because some of them are truly complicated.
Yeah, Genius is like there's a lot of lyrics websites out there. That's been a thing since like, I don't know, the 90s.
Yeah.
And some of them basically haven't changed. But Genius is pretty cool.
It's cool, right? It's cool tech.
Yeah.
It's not only like you get the lyrics, but it's also a cool crowdsourced experience. It's a social experience because the explanations to every line are sort of generated by the users themselves and voted up or down. So you only see the upvoted version. And it's really cool tech.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed.
Like if you compare it to all the other lyric websites, it's like just lyrics and just ads everywhere, right? Yeah. And Genius is the sort of the only destination where you can find lyrics with some meaning. Yeah,
there are some sites that try to just, go into the meaning of a song, but they don't do it like Genius does. And I'm always actually really disappointed when I go to Genius to look up the meaning behind a song. I'm not there for the lyrics. I'm there for the discussion. And then there isn't any. And I'm like, damn it.
Yeah.
I have to be the one to figure it out and put it there.
And sometimes artists themselves go in and they do deals with Genius where they go in and annotate their own songs and like give further feedback as to what the lyrics mean, which is really cool.
So that's kind of a fun story. And I guess it's not a huge surprise. Like Google kind of just aggregates that stuff. I think they do it all over the place, all sorts of sources.
Yeah.
But what a fun way to uncover the truth.
Yeah, I really like their approach. What do you got?
All right. Well, something that caught my hungry eyes today? I don't know. Recently. Domino's, the pizza company / tech company. I think they'd prefer to be known as a tech company more than a pizza company. I'm personally a fan of Domino's. They do, some great tasting cheap pizzas, and I respect that. Anyway, Domino's has teamed up with a company called Nero for driverless pizza delivery in Houston. So we have talked about delivery of food through the use of robots before. I feel like the stakes are lower when you compare to like transporting people around. It's sort of just, it's like a fun thing to talk about. You're never really sure if it's gonna, amount to anything, but this is pretty cool. So this company, they've been around since 2016, I think, and was actually started by people who were involved in Google's self-driving car initiative, I believe, from back in the day. And their whole thing is like they don't transport people. They've built a car which is quite small. It's like half the size of a car, and you can't fit anybody in there. You can only fit groceries and pizzas. And they apparently have been operating these things for real, on the roads.
Is that in Houston, sorry?
Yeah, so they've been doing it in a few places over the years. I think in Texas and Arizona, I want to say, in America, and where probably places where the laws are favorable for these things. And this article, basically, the news is like recently a Japanese company called SoftBank invested in them, gave them $1 billion to play around with. And it seems as though
they've been playing around.
Yeah, they've, they're rolling out this upgrade to the previous vehicle that they had. They had the R1 that's been on the roads, and now they're bringing in this R2. And the news is that specifically they've partnered with Domino's to do a bit of a trial to do autonomous pizza delivery in Houston. And I don't know, what do you think about this?
I don't know. I think that you mentioned the stakes are low with this kind of stuff.
Depends how much you care about your food.
Right? It's not the same as transporting...
Your food's not going to sue anyone,
people,
I guess.
Right? But this is a legitimate car, so presumably it goes onto the road. And It goes through intersections and stuff like that.
That's true. Yeah, there are other drivers.
I
other
hope
people.
that they don't share the same view as you, like that the stakes are low.
They're not stopping for red
Because
lights.
that would be a horrible way to die if you were like crushed by a pizza delivery experimental thingy robot called R2, right?
Yeah.
So I hope that they're considering the safety of others. But one thing I did notice as well on that photo of the car has like, I don't know, 10 pizzas in there and stuff.
Yeah.
So it just comes up to you, opens up, and then you can grab everybody's pizzas. And just...
Yeah, you know, take whatever you like. I'm not sure. And this is always one of the questions about like automated food delivery. Like we talked about that company that was operating out of the university in Berkeley, and that was a much smaller thing. It looked like it would like go out for one trip, you know, to go to one restaurant, a bit like an Uber Eats driver might do. You go to the restaurant and then you go to the person who's receiving it. In this case, it's a bit larger, so yeah, they've apparently been using it so far, their existing vehicle, to do groceries. So maybe they need more space for that.
Yeah.
Or they can. It looks like it's got 4 doors, so maybe they just open one of the doors for you.
And your order is one of the 4 that delivers at the time. Yeah.
But
otherwise, like if it's going to go to a next person after you, then you might be compelled to put something in there as a gift for the next person, if you know what I mean.
Or take their pizzas.
Or both.
Yeah. If only the world was a bit more honest, you know, you could have things like this.
That's the trouble with these things. They just rely on honesty and humanity.
But that's what I thought was so heartwarming about the other one in Berkeley, was that people were legitimately like helping the robots out if they strayed off their course.
It starts like that, you know. And when people see something cute, they
and then they learn what's inside.
And then they learn what's inside, and then they.
So this one, it is fully autonomous, and there's no one inside it, which is unusual because a lot of companies that have fully autonomous vehicles will have safety drivers on board, which makes it a bit pointless, but, you know, we're still in this early stage. I would assume so. In this case, they actually have chase vehicles, which is kind of even sillier. But, you know, eventually they'll be able to not have that.
What's a chase vehicle?
Like someone driving behind it.
So it's like a motorcade.
Who can... Well, I don't know that it's got a full like entourage, but you know, one person in one car.
It's like the
behind
president.
them.
You know, they clear the road, and
yeah,
there's people on motorcycles, and
I mean, honestly, pizza deserves that. So
that'd be cool.
Like
if you're throwing a huge party, and then there's a motorcade of like pizza delivery autonomous vehicles just rocking up
like a convoy.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So, yeah, it isn't the first time Domino's has done this sort of thing. They partnered with Ford a couple of years ago. Not too sure what came of that or
they do
where
drones,
they're going with
I
this.
think. They do little robots.
Uber wants to do drones.
Yeah.
I don't know about drones compared to this. Drones, they have a weight problem, usually. And the airspace is a lot less, I don't know. It's not normal for the average person to be using the airspace. But the roads, people understand. So, I don't know. Maybe this will work.
But even with like all the people on bicycles, people on bikes and delivering food everywhere, it's a lot more crowded these days, the streets.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you can't even walk on the sidewalk. There's just someone zooming by, and soon they're going to be replaced by robots, and it's just going to get crazy.
Gee, imagine if we lived in a bigger city. Anyway.
Anywho.
That's the gist of that. What's next?
Onto some serious topics.
Oh, shit.
Like global currency.
Oh, God.
World domination and misuse of privacy. And, yeah. So, Libra. Facebook has released its cryptocurrency finally. It's probably one of the biggest stories of last week. A lot of people were waiting for this. A lot of people were scared of this. A lot of people became scared of this after they heard. It is huge. Facebook is one of the biggest companies in terms of user base in the world, right? And there has been this cryptocurrency sort of battle going on before them, and then they said, okay, now we're going to do it. We're going to become a player in it, and we're going to release this new cryptocurrency that is going to replace money, and it's going to be this one global digital cryptocurrency to rule them all. And they've done that.
Right.
So it hasn't been released yet, but it's been announced.
It's called Libra.
It's called Libra, yes. And you can buy it off your apps, or you can buy it, you're going to be able to buy it in, say, convenience stores and sell it. You do need a photo ID for every, I don't know if it's for every transaction, but associated to your account. So know your customer stuff. And they're going to have a massive developer ecosystem, which apparently they're not going to really control. So it's going to be a free developer ecosystem. It is sort of like Bitcoin, but it is not. So there's a lot of questions, and a lot of weird things also happening. So they've created this Libra Association, which is basically the body that governs it all. And it's not just Facebook in that.
Right.
So they opened it up to, I'm guessing, everyone to pitch in and become a member of it. So currently companies like Facebook, Visa, Uber, Lyft, Spotify, there's 28 companies that are members of this association. And they had to pay at least $10 million to get in. And that gets them a single vote. And the vote determines the future of the cryptocurrency and the governance and so on.
Right.
And so when people buy this cryptocurrency, they're paying real money and they're getting Libras for it. All the money that they pay goes into a reserve. And this reserve holds real currencies like the US dollar, the yen, the pound, right? So this reserve is pretty much, it backs up the whole thing. It backs up the value of Libra. So if one currency, say the dollar, goes down, the others are presumably going to hold it up, and it's going to have a stable value, the Libra.
You're trying to say it's not like Bitcoin.
It's not like Bitcoin, where
speculative pricing thing.
Yeah, where there's limited supply and the price goes up and down depending on demand.
Rewind a little bit.
Yes.
What is this for? Why would they do this?
Good question. So
what does it help me accomplish?
There's good things in there that it helps accomplish. For example, there's a lot of people in the world that live in countries like, say, third world countries, and they have family members outside that work and send money back. There's a huge economy around that. And when they send money back through services like Western Union and MoneyGram, they pay huge amounts for every transaction. I believe it's up to 7% or something. And so these companies make huge profits off of that. Having a global currency like Libra will make those transactions free.
Because you're not converting between...
Because it's not a currency that's tied to a single government or a single country. It's a global currency, which can be used anywhere. And it can be converted into that country's currency at convenience stores, presumably. And so that's going to help those people a lot. One concern that a lot of people would have is that Facebook already knows too much about us. It knows our birthdays, it knows our friends, it knows what we buy, it knows all the sites we visit, knows our habits. And people think that this is going to also mean that it will know what we buy.
More than it already does.
Yeah. And Facebook obviously knows this. They know that they're creepy. And what they've said is that they're creating a new company to govern this called Calibra, and that they're not going to share data with your Facebook profile. And other people will also be able to make wallets. So it's not like only Facebook has the wallet for Libra. Other apps will come out, and so they're saying that your data is not really tied to what you buy.
Yeah, I heard about this, and isn't Calibra their app
It's also their app
for sending money?
Yes.
So you're saying that they're saying it's effectively disconnected from Facebook?
I think it's going to have integrations into Messenger and WhatsApp and Facebook itself. But what they're saying is that the data on what you buy, it's not going to be shared. It's not going to be tied to your Facebook profile.
Yeah.
And that other companies can also make wallets and sort of like separated, have another degree of separation as to what you buy in your Facebook profile. It's tied to a photo ID, not your Facebook profile.
I think something like this, like it's definitely makes you feel a little uncomfortable because it's definitely a big deal.
Yes.
Like a lot has happened in cryptocurrencies over the last couple of years, but no one as big as Facebook has tried to do something. Like they definitely have the capability to make either mainstream technology, for better or for worse.
Yes, they do have that capability, and they're not alone. They're partnered with, Visa, MasterCard, like all these incumbents, all these huge corporations. And that's sort of also the bad thing about this. Because what Bitcoin allowed you to do, its vision was to be a truly free currency where I can run a node. I can be part of the Bitcoin ecosystem on my home computer. You can run a node. But what they're doing is that the only people that are allowed to run nodes and govern this thing are the Libra Association members, which started this thing. And currently there's 28 of them. They're hoping to get to 100 by the time I launch.
So it's slightly like less. So it's slightly more distributed than like a
it's
bank.
It's the incumbents in control. Whereas Bitcoin was like, it's free currency for the world and people are in control. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the way that this would work, that because people don't care, people don't care about the nuts and bolts of this stuff, and I feel like it's just about the application. Like it would be great if I can literally press one button in a chat experience to literally send you money.
Yes,
and even better if it's not. Like, you don't really want to get Libras and then be like, okay, now I have to cash them out. You just want that to happen. You want to connect your messenger to your bank account.
And then you want to go Libras on Amazon and buy stuff with the Libras.
I don't even want to do that. I don't want credit. I just want, money.
Oh, you want to convert it to...
Yeah. There's
dollars.
A lot of people have been working on how to make transferring of money between friends easier. And that's... Yeah, the idea of embedding it within a chat is one of the dreams. I think a few people have wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And they could do it with this.
Yeah. One thing I don't know is how this ties into microtransactions. I haven't actually researched it, but one thing that I was excited about cryptocurrencies or blockchain in general was the concept of microtransactions.
No one's ever excited about microtransactions.
Well, I was. and
unless they're on the vendor side, I guess.
And by that I mean money that flows, money that truly flows.
Oh, yeah.
So, for example, you are insuring your car, and when you're driving your car, every minute you drive, there's a microtransaction for a very small amount that insures you for that minute. Things like that.
Yeah.
You're watching a movie, it charges you for only however much you watched, not the whole thing. It's something that it's very hard to do with traditional currencies, but it's something that's very easy to do with cryptocurrencies and digital currencies. So if it allows for a developer ecosystem that's truly vibrant and people can come up with ideas, and this will be a truly global coin, then
it's very interesting.
It's better than... I'm not going to say it's better than Bitcoin. I'm going to say it's better than the traditional currencies of governments.
So when does it happen?
2020, the first half of 2020, they say.
So we'll be hearing a lot more about that, I'm sure.
And it's not going to launch just in America, as with most of the stuff we talk about. And because it's a global thing, it's probably going to launch worldwide.
Interesting. Oh, all right. Well, it's been a big meaty episode, you might say. Or
Yes.
I'm just feeling the weight of that particular story. So maybe we only really have time for something light.
Yes.
And I just can't pass up this article that I saw, which made me laugh a tremendous amount. Cat filter derails Pakistani politician's live stream press conference. Have you seen this?
I've seen glimpses of it. I don't know the full story behind it.
I don't know. Maybe the video's online somewhere. Apparently they took it down. Basically, this Pakistani regional minister, I'm not going to try and pronounce his name, but like they live stream these political press conferences because they've got some kind of a social media team that wanted to do this, which is great. There should be a lot more transparency on what happens within the confines of
Sure.
with the goings on of politics, but you really wouldn't expect that you would tune in to see how your nation is run and there is a man who looks like a cat talking. And basically...
With pink ears and whiskers.
Yeah. Oh, he's just adorable. But apparently it was a total accident. Whoever was running the stream just, you know...
Probably left the filter on and they weren't watching because
Yeah.
it was such a mundane thing.
I just love that it works. It's like, you know, even though it's not right in front of them kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
it's
it
like
wasn't
a bit
intentional.
filtered.
This, you know, the algorithm is like, yeah, that's a face. I got you. And yeah, it just went on for basically the whole thing, or at least several minutes, and then...
I'm glad that this is news.
Yeah, so am I.
This is what the show is about.
So apparently they took down the video and they acknowledged what had
But the
happened.
internet never forgets.
That's right. And they quoted human error, and they said they'd taken steps to prevent this from happening.
Somebody
in the future.
somewhere was probably fired, but
Frankly, it's disappointing. This should be just the way it always is.
yeah.
You know, that would get people to watch. I always enjoy when you know, politicians and I don't know, people who are supposed to conduct themselves really professionally just kind of don't.
Yeah.
From time to time. And I think the guy in question had said something.
The operator
about
or
it. The person who was the cat. He sort of said, "Oh, they got the guy next to me as well from time to time. It wasn't just me." And apparently the public didn't seem to mind. They were quite happy to see cats.
Well, now they're world famous.
Yeah, now we know that Pakistan like live streams their political press conferences. So
Yeah, it looks like a
Good on
really
them.
mundane, like really
It
boring
does.
press conference. Like there's just a whole bunch of old people just sitting there looking grumpy,
yeah.
and then there's this cat man.
You know, everyone, you know, when these filters first came out, it was kind of like a dumb thing, but they're honestly so much fun. It's like one of the greatest things that's been invented tech-wise
Yeah.
in the last few years, which is,
It's been a lot of laughs.
you know, so much engineering goes into stuff like that. And
Yeah, I assume it's really hard to do
it's
things
kind
like
of
that.
ridiculous that's what it amounts to, but it makes people smile and laugh, and that's great.
Yes, and on that happy note, we will end the show and wish you all the best. And please subscribe, like, and hit the bell. And we'll see you next time on episode 9 of the No Signal Show.
See ya.